So I work at Guesty. Guesty is a property management software. We started working with the urban market. We targeted the urban market, but as we grew, we naturally attracted some urban vacation rentals. And working for 2 years in this company, I've noticed that the urban market is growing to have similar needs as the vacation rentals market. And one example for that is the apartment hotels. And Guesty is an end-to-end solution, and our main goal is to try to optimize the processes that our users use to make sure that they work as least as possible and make the most money. I personally like working a lot, but most people prefer making money more. So one part of it and one challenge of that goal is trying to make, is guest communication, because with today's communication, it is a major task. It's a time-consuming task for our users. And to start and learn the subject, we reached out to 1,900 property managers that are not Guesty users, and we asked them about guest communication. And you can see the full survey in Guesty.com, but I'm going to talk about specific results from it. So the three main challenges that those property managers raise is first, keeping communication organized. And today with the multi-channels or all of the places you can get reservations from, keeping everything organized in one place is one of the main challenges. And the second one is collecting reviews from guests. And personally, I don't know what is your experience from staying with hosts, but for me, it's a very time-consuming task. So I usually, even working in this industry, I don't leave reviews for my host. It requires like a big impression for me to actually leave a review. And the third one is responding to guests in a timely fashion, response rate, basically. And I was surprised that that's only the third challenge, the number 3 challenge, and it only teaches me that maybe I don't know everything. And 64% of bookings are closed due to communications with guests beforehand. And that's surprising, because with today we want instant book, and we want with the OTAs they require us to instant book, and that increases conversion. We get reservations faster, but then again we're still reliant on guest communication to get more bookings. And I think the reason for that, thinking of like seeing that data and thinking about it, I think maybe it's because this industry is still growing, and new users, new guests that are getting into the OTAs and Airbnb, they still want to ask questions before they actually book with the host. Which channel do you think is more supportive of guest communications? Does anyone have an idea? Good job. Yes, so according to the survey, 80% of property managers stated that Airbnb is the most supportive channel of guest communication. And it's, again, interesting, because seeing channels like Booking.com and HomeAway, those channels drive occupancy substantially. My users have seen their occupancy grow since moving to the other OTAs from Airbnb. But still, they crave for that, for the ability to have a good guest communication. So those are two not so surprising numbers. 90% of the property managers that we talked to see a correlation between timely responses and the quality of guest review. And I don't know what your experience is, but definitely guests mention the responsiveness of the host in their reviews constantly. They feel like someone was there for them, and they want to share it in their review. And 82% noticed that their response time has a vast impact on booking. And that makes totally sense. If I have 4 hosts, I have an option for 4 hosts, and I message all of them, because there is endless inventory, as we said. I would probably go with the first host that answered me, because that's what I care about. Like, I want to plan my vacation, and I don't want to invest too much time in it, so I'm just going to book with the first host that answers me. The good news is that 70% of the people that we talk to feel that they need to learn more about guest communication, and it's good news for us because we get to help them, and it's good news for our users because it means they're not alone. So it's all about communications. I don't know if you remember what it was 10 years ago, but the experience of booking a hotel was you would send an email or maybe call a long-distance call to a hotel, and the process would be very, maybe long, maybe no communication at all with the hotel, because you didn't have the communications that we have today. Today, everything is on your phone. Like in any other industry, it's instant and constant. And if I'm a guest and my host sent me a message and I responded immediately because I got it on my phone, I expect the same back. I want 24/7 immediate response. So why do you need guest communication, smart guest communication? So first it saves time in replying to guests, which time is money, of course. Second is it helps you organize all communication in a single inbox. You want it in one place and have the same experience no matter where the guest booked. And the third thing, and I don't think we talk about it enough, is the focus on guest experience and the personal touch. You want the guests are expecting fast communication, but they still want it to be personalized. They want it to feel like they're talking to someone and this is a unique experience. And obviously, the most important, you want to focus on growth. You don't want to spend too much time on the communication. You want to get more money. And for that, you need time. So what is smart communication? Is it just automated messages? So obviously, that's not just it. Oops. So all of us know the basic flow of a guest when they stay with us. And if you don't, you probably should change profession. So they inquire or they request to book, and you confirm their booking. And there is an obvious message that needs to be sent. Thank you for booking with us. Here are your check-in instructions. Here are my contact details if you want to reach out to me. And then finally their check-in comes. They check in and they check out. And this repeats itself with every single guest. Now, if you look on it from a more advanced perspective, then there's a little more. There are more touch points. So it's not just that they checked in, that you gave them your check-in instructions, you also want to make sure that they checked in okay. And it's not just that, and during their stay, you also want to make sure that they're enjoying themselves, that everything is okay. And maybe you don't want to spend time to hear maybe if they have complaints, but it's important for you to know that they don't have any issues. Sometimes guests will not raise anything, and then will just not leave a review in the end, or will leave a bad review, because they don't have time, they don't want to invest time in complaining, but eventually it will come out somehow. They won't leave a good review, or they won't leave a review at all, or maybe they'll leave like an okay review or even a bad review. And obviously after they leave, after the checkout, there's also the fact that you want to remind them to leave a review. Now, as I said, this flow is the same for every single guest. Now, is it actually the same for every single guest? Because not all guests are the same, but we want to be able to automate it and still keep it personalized. So what types of guests do we have? So these are just 3 examples. Obviously, there are endless type, but those are, for us, the main that we thought of. And we have couples and business and family. Those are 3 types of guests. And I think probably most of you have traveled in any type of that persona. So once we went out with your spouse or your partner, and you went on a business trip, because all of us here are business people, and you went for a trip with your family, and you might go to the same exact location as those 3 different personas, and would you like the experience to be the same? If I'm going with my partner, I would want it to be romantic and luxury, and go to nice restaurants and the place with the best view. I don't know, maybe you can help me with the most romantic place in London. And if I'm going with my family, I need to basically make my kids busy and make sure that they are tired enough so when we go back to the hotel room that is definitely smaller than my house, they'll just go to sleep. And if I'm a business traveler, I'm coming for 3 days. I'm probably not going to get to see too many attractions. I just want to be in a convenient hotel close to where my meetings are. Maybe have some help maneuvering between meetings. Good places to take out for food, things like that. And I'm on a budget because my company is paying for it. So we have automated messages, as probably a lot of PMSs have. But how do I send an automated message to all of those 3 personas and still keeping it personalized? So this is an example for a message that is often used. Hi, whoever the guest is, I hope that you have settled in all right and that you're enjoying your stay, and etc. I just want to make sure that you're enjoying your stay. But I can pop and add, by the way, there is a wonderful restaurant nearby, and give you a recommendation for a restaurant. Maybe I can give you a voucher or a discount, or somehow be used as a concierge for that restaurant and get even money on it. And then what if you're a business person? I'm still sending you, I still want to make sure that you're enjoying your stay. But now I'm going to also offer you, if you need any rides to any of your meetings, here's a phone number, here's a service that you can use. And finally, if you're a family, then the obvious thing would be to offer attractions. Here are many, many ways you can make your kids tired so they will go to sleep fast. And obviously, there are different ways that you can personalize messages. You can add, if you want to target honeymooners, then maybe constantly mention, hi, I'm hoping you're enjoying your honeymoon. Basically, this process would be still automate the communication, and because yes, every guest has the same flow, and it does repeat itself, but you still want to make them feel like you know why they're coming. You know the reason of their stay. You're interacting with them and with their experience, and you're making their experience different. So when they leave, they felt like they were heard. And yes, this is basically the beginning of using, in a sense, like, the industry is talking about AI. And we're talking about AI constantly, and I still haven't seen the big AI transformation. But until it comes, this is a way to listen to your guests and still have it, and give them a personalized experience, but still have it automatized. And basically using automated messages with a different flow for each type of persona that is staying with you. So let's talk about your guest communication. Do you have any questions or concerns that you have with guest communications? Yes?
Yeah, the segmentation you've shown makes sense.
Yeah.
And the message also very nice. What happens when we text them and it seems very human?
Yeah.
And then text back and say, hey, what about this other restaurant?
So obviously, automated messages it cannot be 100%. You will always need a person. But those are messages that you constantly send. And if you're giving the same experience to every single guest, then they don't have a unique experience. They might reach out back to you and need help, and you can also make the message much more informative. This is just a simple example. We were invited to we joined this conference a couple of days ago, but I could have made a more complex example. You can add more information to it, but yes, it will never. I personally believe, I seriously believe that you won't be able to completely automatize communications, and I might be wrong, and I'll find myself wrong in a year. But I really believe that even with the technology and the world changing, people still look for the communication with an actual human. But this saves you from all of those messages that you send anyway, but still giving the unique experience.
Just to follow up on this.
Yeah.
If let's say you don't want to set up a team to be answering those messages 24/7, or any time of the day, do you think the first message should say something like, this is an automated message, or not say it all, wait for them to write and then say, sorry, inbox is not, is not monitored, or do you think that will make them feel like, I've been tricked if I didn't, answer them?
So
I've never known it wasn't a person.
So it's interesting. We have this discussion in our company, and I talk about it with users constantly. And we actually think that it's not so bad to tell a user that it's an automated message. Here, maybe it will make it a little bit less nice and less personal. But we all live in this world, and 2018, everything is automatized, and they get automated messages constantly. And they probably think it's automated even if you don't mention it. So being honest about it is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what is the subject of the message, I guess. Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to repeat the questions. Okay, I'll do it now. Sorry.
So from your survey, do you think the guest prefers text or do you think email?
So he asked if from the survey, if guests prefer texts or emails. It wasn't part of the survey, but personally, as a guest myself, and in the end, and it's also something that we try to teach our users, is you don't want to like harass the guest too much. You want to communicate with them and let them know that you're there, but you don't want to harass them too much. And it's the same with work, for example. Like my users have my phone number, and obviously I would rather them email me than text me, because it takes over when it's in your phone. And an email still lets you like put it away in a sense. So I think there are specific messages that you would use and are better in text. Like for example, if you want to send them the code, if you're using an automated check-in process, then the code would probably be better in a text, because it's a short message and it gives them the access, and they don't need to go to their email, and they can save it in their phone without needing internet later. So that those things I would send in an SMS, but the entire the constant communication, I would probably stick with email.